Hi there, Tristan again here. I'm back with the KORG Prologue. In the last video we looked at creating some big sounding patches from scratch. However, these were for the most part very simple patches, often using just the two analog oscillators. Of course, we have this amazing new digital multi-engine to work with as well, which is capable of creating all sorts of weird, unique and wonderful sounds that you just can't do with a regular analog oscillator. And where things get really interesting is when you start blending the digital oscillator in with the analog oscillators to get all sorts of interesting timbres. And it really gives the Prologue a unique voice of its own. Take, for example, this patch here called triple saw, which is, as the name suggests, 3 sawtooth waves. Now this patch has a fairly aggressive kind of quality to it. That's largely because the third sawtooth is coming from the VPM component of the multi-engine oscillator. And as we mentioned last time, that is a modulated waveform. We just have the modulation depth set pretty low. If we turn up the modulation depth, the sound gets even brighter and more aggressive. If it's too bright, you can just back off the modulation depth. That's a really fun parameter to modulate as well, if you want to add a bit of movement to the sound. An obvious way to do that is to use the LFO on the front panel. However, if we dig a bit deeper under the hood in edit mode, on page 7 we find a bunch of additional multi-engine parameters. These may look familiar if you're into FM synthesis at all. We have feedback, noise depth, and importantly, shape and modulation intensity. Now this is actually a dedicated envelope, specifically for the shape knob, for the multi-engine oscillator. So as we increase this, we can hear the result on the sound. Start to get a bit of movement there. On the next page, we have modulation attack and decay. So if we increase that, we'll start to get those classic sort of FM sounds. Getting nice and aggressive. We have a lot of different waveforms we can work with as well. That's the modulated sawtooth. We have more classic modulated sine waves. Or some more interesting things, such as this decay sound here. And just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, the Prologue is actually a multi-timbral synthesizer, well, a bi-timbral synth, which means we can actually have 2 separate patches loaded at the same time. All we have to do is click this sub-on button here, which adds a second patch to the sub-timbre level. We can blend between them here. It's our main timbre. Here's our sub-timbre. Now we can just go and build another sound from scratch here if we want, or if we hold down this sub-on button, we enter program fetch mode, which means we can go and find a pre-made preset and load that into the sub-timbre layer. Let's take this one here, Prologue. We can easily preview the sound and hit right, and now we have 2 big sounding patches laid together. Now these are currently layered together. We can of course split them, so we have one patch on the left. Or we can have them crossfade, so slowly fade from one sound into the other. However, layering is also great for mixing 2 different sounds together. For example, a pad sound with a arpeggiated sound. Well, thanks very much for watching. This has been a quick look at some of the hybrid and bitimbral aspects of the KORG Prologue. We'll see you in the next video.